Hi there, Scorpio. Thank you for joining me for your monthly forecast for March. The month begins with the sun in the part of your horoscope, which is ideal for showcasing your talents. But to begin with, you may be a little bit reticent. Both Mercury and Venus are in the areas of your horoscope to do with more homely feelings. So if you do entertain anyone, you may want to do so in the comfort of your own abode. It's also possible that you may be tempted to splash out some money in the first week of this month, especially if you have been feeling a little bit below par. This is because of a quarter moon which occurs on the first day. There may be somebody close to you who wants some kind of financial assistance too. Just be conscious that Saturn, the planet of structure, continues in the part of your horoscope to do with your resources. This planet has been here for 7 of the last 13 months. Now it is going to be joined by your ruling planet on the 6th, Mars. And that's going to give you a lot of determination this year due to an extended occupation in this area to overcome the more restrictive energies of Saturn. But I think how this may work is it may see you wanting to be more enterprising about opening up new possibilities of earning money. Perhaps something that you used to enjoy doing is losing its appeal for you, and perhaps you're tempted to be more experimental. Now that could be a good thing, but don't be too gung-ho. Don't risk money on something that you haven't thoroughly researched. Mercury is going to help you from the 5th because that moves into Pisces too. It's not at its best in this zodiac sign, but for you I do feel that your sense of humour will revive, you'll feel more outgoing. However, it's the 9th which is the key date in this whole month, because that is when we have the solar eclipse. Now this solar eclipse on the face of it looks perfect for you, and there will be some astrologers telling you that the next 6 months are going to be utterly amazing for all Scorpios. I'm sorry if it sounds like I'm a bit of a sourpuss, but I'm just being utterly honest about the other planetary influences that are there. Because this solar eclipse is going to work in a pair with the lunar eclipse of the 23rd, which is in a very psychological part of your scope. I feel that you may go through a lot of soul searching in the next half year, especially if you're doing something at the moment that you're no longer finding to be gratifying. You need to do something that gives you a sense of enjoyment and enrichment and is good for your self-esteem, that makes you feel satisfied. And Mars is going to be majorly helpful in that regard. But this solar eclipse is extremely complex because it's in an opposition with Jupiter, which is ordinarily about expansion, except it's in Virgo, where it's in detriment, and it's also twisting backwards. And we also have the other complication that Saturn has got an iron handbrake on this solar eclipse in a right angle to both Jupiter and the solar eclipse itself. So it's saying to you that whatever you try to do in terms of being more enterprising or around your friendships, it all comes down to the value that this will bring to you. And this enrichment can come financially, it can come just in terms of how it makes you feel. You need to feel good as a person. What's going to help you hugely though, Scorpio, is the arrival on the 12th of Venus. It's true that there's a bit of a confusing link between Mercury and Neptune in the 3 days before, but once Venus moves, I do feel that you're going to feel much more upbeat, and it's possible that someone is going to be capturing your imagination between now and the end of the month. This person may be very romantic and make some extremely romantic overtures towards you. But with that lunar eclipse emerging on the 23rd, the people you get close to, even in an intimate way, needs to be people that you really feel secure with. Now you're someone who can fire out some feisty comments to people, you can appear quite tough, and you can keep your own personal business very close to your chest. But this sense of vulnerability that can evolve over the next half year is something that you need to protect yourself from. So you need to make sensible choices about the things that you're doing in terms of your interests, the people you're spending time with, or the person you might be tempted to fall in love with too. So Venus can certainly help. It can be playful, it can be fun, it can be flirty, but be realistic. That takes us through to the 20th, and the Sun moves into Aries, a very practical location for you, followed on the 22nd by Mercury. So they're saying to you, the nuts and bolts of life is what's important here. If you've come up with some great ideas earlier in the month, how are you going to deploy them? Are you going to deploy them in a way which will give you tangible evidence that what you're doing is giving you a return? Airy-fairy ideas are very possible when there's a big clustering of energy in the sign of Pisces. So it's possible you will have quite a few possibles that you're running with, but you're going to need to narrow these down from the third week of this month and be much more focused on what's realistic in the last 10 days. Now Saturn has of course been a planet which continues to teach us lessons all of the time, but it does actually forge a brilliant link with Uranus all through this month. And if you can be open-minded and flexible about how you can earn money, a slowly evolving situation can be very positive for you. However, Saturn is forging a really tough right angle with Jupiter, the planet of expansion, all through this month. And I fear there may be some friendships which start to wither on the vine on the back of this particular aspect. But there's one aspect, another aspect, which has been causing mischief for us all for the last 4 years. And that's the square between Uranus and Pluto. And finally, as this month draws to a close, it is going to start to ease. For you, I think it's had a big effect on your nervous system. It's made you restless, it's made you fretful. At work particularly, your attention span may have been very low unless you're lucky enough to be in a role which really engages you. You need something to switch your mind on, and I think as this month draws to a close, the choices may become more. But that lunar eclipse says to you, whatever those choices are, they need to work for you at a very, very deep emotional level. But as this month draws to a close, there could be an opportunity that comes up from nowhere that you may find yourself really excited by, but you may need to move quickly. Thank you for joining me. Good luck and goodbye for now.